What's up, guys? It's Billy here from Strikes and Subs, and today we'll be talking about UFC light heavyweight champion Jon Jones and UFC women's flyweight champion Valentina Shevchenko. Now, as we all know, Jon Jones, he's got a bit of trouble when it comes to police, drugs, alcohol, etc. He had that crash where he hit the pregnant lady's car, and then he had to drop the title as a result. He's had multiple issues with USADA, and which have resulted in no contests, also resulted in lengthy suspensions in times when he's been in the prime of his career, especially when he's had that massive rivalry with Daniel Cormier over the time. And now, recently, on March the 26th, 2020, in the early morning, he was arrested, as according to police, they responded when they heard gunshots, and they observed a black Jeep with Jones behind the wheel. They also noticed that he was smashed with his alcohol. He got tested in the form of a breathalyzer, and the reading came back more than twice the legal limit. So in the end, he was taken to Bernalillo County Jail, and he was charged with a DUI, which practically means driving under the influence, negligent use of a firearm, possession of an open container, and driving with no proof of insurance. And yesterday, March 31st, Jon Jones pleaded guilty in the case after he got a plea deal, and he was only sentenced to 4 days house arrest, 1 year of supervised probation, a minimum of 90 days of therapy, and he must complete 48 hours of community service. Now, this is insane. I remember back when Jon Jones had his battery charge, the judge pretty much said to him, "Don't come back here, otherwise you're done. You're not going to leave the court. You're going to go straight to jail for a serious amount of time." And I think that's sort of what a fair few people in the community felt, that like Jon Jones would go to jail and that we would need a title fight for an interim title or a new undisputed champion, perhaps between Reyes and Santos, but Jones is out, and it seems that by the time the coronavirus drama is wrapped up, which, could be months for all we know. UFC's booked 249, but you can argue all day and night about whether that should and shouldn't go ahead, but for now, it is going ahead. And so Jon Jones is going to have a lot of time to heal and hopefully get back into a great headspace. He did announce and put forward a statement to say that his apology and that he's always had this bad relationship with alcohol, so we do hope that he does get better, as he is definitely one of the best fighters in modern day UFC, and he's arguably one of the greatest. He is one of the greatest fighters of all time. But whether he is the greatest of all time, people dispute that. Some people say he is, some people say he doesn't. I don't know if he is. Personally, I would probably say George St. Pierre might be the greatest of all time. I don't know. It's really, really up for debate. But yeah, it's going to be a while till we see Jones back in the octagon. I'm going to have a stab and say maybe September-ish, October-ish, because you got to factor in injuries that he got from his fight with Reyes in addition to the coronavirus. So, could be a while. In other news, UFC women's flyweight champion Valentina "The Bullet" Shevchenko is out of her fight at UFC 251 with Joanne Calderwood. Yesterday as well, March 31st, Shevchenko was forced to withdraw from the event due to a leg injury. This is crazy, as arguably Valentina Shevchenko is probably the second best female fighter going around behind Amanda Nunes. She's just an insane fighter who always puts on a massive show. I don't really know what else to say. It's just a shame, especially for the Australian audiences, given that they don't really get big championship fights over here unless it is an Australian or a New Zealander fighter coming out here to defend or to try to win the title. And in fact, here in Australia, we don't get many cards. Like, we get one a year, which I get is a pay-per-view given generally, but sometimes we get two, but one of them will be a fight night, and not many good people come out for fight nights. So like in the US, when you maybe have 30-ish cards a year and you're always getting talent, like I remember there was a fight night that had Robbie Lawler versus Colby Covington as the main event in the USA, which could probably main event many pay-per-views, but I don't know. We don't get many big fights over here and big name fighters in Australia, but Valentina Shevchenko is definitely a big name fighter. So this sucks. She has touted, however, that her return will probably be in August. Again, with the virus, no one really wants to talk about it, but it's a fact. You know, you don't know when anyone's going to be back, per se, but she should be right to fight by August or September if the UFC goes around. And yeah, that wraps up the video for today. To summarize, Jon Jones got a bit of an alcohol problem, but definitely doesn't have a fighting problem. One of the greatest of all times. And we wish him, all the best in his recovery. And we hope that he does find a better way to deal with problems and deal with his problematic relationship with alcohol. On the other hand, we also wish Valentina Shevchenko all the best with her recovery. We hope that she does get better much sooner, as she is one of the most exciting champions going around in MMA today. And guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll be back later with a video detailing what our dream scenario would be if UFC 249 does go ahead.